Who want one last trip to the long trail?
It says we sat down with Harada, Michael Murray, and Nakatu to discuss the current state of Tekken 8 and what they have in store for Season 2.
その今まで守備
We
的
aim to make a fun battle system where it would be more offensive focused, where Tekken up until this point has been more defensive. In regards to making it feel fresh, I think it's going well, but on one hand, because of offensive play is strong, it feels the game nature leans a little too much towards offense. Okay, on that part, I feel that there's so much to be worked on. There are both good and bad sides to this, but I think we're able to freshen up one part within the system, alongside making a game where attacking is strong. By memorizing attack patterns, there's aspects of anyone having fun and improving. That's the thing about Tekken, memorizing attack patterns. Some people would argue that's Tekken's biggest downfall, is that you have to remember so much, and with most other games you don't need to do that. Speaking back to the idea of them trying to make the game deceptive with pushbacks and heavy guards is what they call it, it's weird that you have to remember so many things, but then the game gives you the wrong conclusions in so many situations because you're basically remembering incorrections. We really don't intend on changing the aggressive nature on the game where it's fun to be the aggressor. So this is kind of what they were showing us in the footage already, right? The plus 17 still exists, and that's something that Twitter was upset about. But I simply think reduce the reward. You know, these 50-50 options should lead to smaller rewards so that the match can continue. Not oh, I gotta guess, oh, I guess wrong, wall splat, combo gone, Oki dead. You know, it's like that's too much from one little forced interaction. But on the other hand, in Season 1, because it was constraining for defensive players, and the heat system made it easy to make matches pretty one-sided. Yes. In terms of strategy, if we weren't able to balance the defensive aspect that well. But how do you guys feel so far about what they're saying? They're literally saying, like, you know, we made a mistake. It is kind of sad though. A new season is supposed to be like, yay, exciting, yeah. But for Tekken 8, it's like, oh, we messed up, guys. I'm sorry. We're going to try to fix it, but also we're still going to continue to do aggression. It's like, it's a weird, like, you know, that's why for Season 2, we'd like to focus on defense in terms of the lateral aspect of 3D fighting games, the ease of defending when being attacked. The heat system is the starting point and factor in which your attacks can really get explosive. Theories get created on how players or characters should win to a certain degree. In order to expand upon this in Season 2, we're doing a particular thing. When you're in heat state and taking a lot of damage on the ground, we're adding the ability to recover about 30% of your health from the actual damage inflicted. Are they saying this will basically give gray health? I think that's what they're talking about. Up until now, the correct action when you activated heat was either to heat smash or rush down your opponent utilizing the unique individual power-up properties of heat. But now preserving heat strategies are expanded upon. It sounds like they're saying that you can get beat up and your heat will give you gray health. If we change the way people activate their heat bursts, it can expand the way players utilize heat to attack. This is something that I tried to highlight as well, is that most people don't know how to use heat properly. Like, there's a lot of people who do, but the majority of players, they don't. They only know how to do it in combos. And it seems like the developers are seeing that, understanding that, and they're trying to change that and get players to realize that that there's other ways to use heat beyond just extending combos, which if you look at like red to blue and beyond, that's what most people do. And really, that's the most effective way to use it. There's the only other times you would use heat to like break offense is when someone is about to lose. Either you're about to lose or you're trying to stop them from making a comeback and you're using your heat to steal the win. The reason why we made it so you can crouch after heat was for characters like Anna who have strong choices from crouching. So wait a minute. So they're probably saying that there's certain characters who are stronger standing and there's certain characters who are stronger crouching. You know, people are talking about, oh, this crouch heat thing is going to give the characters who stronger crouching a advantage. But the developer's mindset is that the people who are stronger standing already had an advantage. I get it. Because we left in this Season 1 where you can only stay standing, characters would lose out of merits of course, there are other characters aside from Anna with a strong crouch game that would suffer since they couldn't crouch. I was against that change, but now that they explained it, I kinda am for it. Because some characters do suck standing and all of their strengths come from crouching. And it kind of levels the playing field. In theory, Michael Murray, I think people don't understand that when creating a game, you have a solid key concept. If you don't uphold that, the game won't be interesting. Harada says it will break down. Michael Murray says, so we don't waver from being aggressive. In doing so, it guarantees a degree of fun. There are places where it might be unfair. So rather than tossing the concept, you just fix whatever. Yeah, see, that's the idea. Now, I'm not one of those guys who say that, you know, Tekken 7 sucks. I don't say that at all. But there is this wave of people who woke up and just like, Tekken 7 sucks. It's too slow. It's too defensive. It's like, bro, that was every Tekken prior. The developers said it here themselves that every past Tekken was defensive. So if you're hating on Tekken 7 for defensive, you might as well just say you hate Tekken. Tekken 8 is the anomaly that's super aggressive and offensive. And the developers are saying that we realize that we made it this way, but we don't want to get rid of that. We want to tweak the things that players feel that are unfair. And then in theory, that should fix everything, right? Because if we say, oh, we don't like this, oh, we don't like that, oh, we don't like that, if they fix those things and the game is still aggressive, in theory, we should like it. I don't know. When you look at the reactions regarding Tekken 8 and where it changed most, a lot of negative feedback surprisingly came from the veterans. Much of the dissatisfaction surprisingly came from the people who have been with the series for a long time. And you know why that is the case? It's because they turned their back on those players. In a good way, Tekken 8 allows players to defeat higher ranked players with powerful moves. For young players and those currently playing, it boosts their motivation, so I think it's a good system. They can overthrow higher ranked opponents. So they can't be like, oh, wow, the veterans of the game really dislike it. You literally made the game so the veterans can lose to scrubs. You made the game so people can lose to scrubs, and then you're scratching your head talking about they don't like the game. What? That is crazy. Harada-san, please. Conversely, there are people who thought Tekken 8 was interesting. For example, whether or not Tekken 8 is easy for new players or not is a different story, like completely different. People that are able to overcome that wall end up liking the structure of Tekken 8. That's why they say Tekken 8 is interesting. Yeah, it really is a matter of whether or not you know what happened in the past. That's really what it comes down to. Do you know what past Tekkens were and the options you have? And if you don't, you think Tekken 8's great. If you do, you think Tekken 8 is restricting. In regards of strategy balance, if we try to balance it more towards preference of the veterans, of course the satisfaction of the people that originally found Tekken 8 interesting will drop. So basically it's saying if we allow you to sidestep these attacks, see, look, I was on their side at the start, but they're still talking the same rhetoric. This is what I was saying, bro. It's their ideology that we're going up against, right? Their ideology of like, it's a trade-off between carrying casuals or letting the competitors compete. We see by how much of an aspect might be too extreme. And honestly, balance while monitoring. I like that as well. It doesn't have to be truly even, but if the scales are tipped too far in one favor, then it becomes bad. Like Tekken Tag Tournament 2 was too competitive. Tekken 8 too casual. Tekken 7 was a good middle ground, and that's what they should try to establish once more. Subject of where is not very simple. Yeah. People like veterans that complained are actually the ones who got the best resolutions in Tekken 8. Is he saying that the people who dislike the games the most also are the ones who are doing the best? This seems like a shot at Arslan, because Arslan says playing the game makes him depressed, but meanwhile he and all of Pakistan, they're the best in the world currently with Tekken 8, right? But looking at the results from esports, it seems good and going the way we imagined it. We spoke about this with Nakatsu, and the thing that makes a game a good product is that people have never played Tekken that start from 8 can have the feeling, if I try, even I can win. But they're obviously not going to be able to beat Mishima's star. Likely not going to win. Veterans are veterans for a reason. Like, they're saying both things at the same time, and it's like, which is it? Can casuals beat veterans or can they not? Did you put powerful tools in this game to decrease the skill gap, or did you not? Another thing is how the entirety of the series, you couldn't crouch sidestep in the foreground and background. The new players that started from Tekken 8 found it difficult to understand why you couldn't do that despite being able to move laterally. Even for us who played the series didn't know why, so we wanted to fix that. In order to buff defensive aspects and improve on a point that didn't make sense for new players. Those are the changes we're adding. We wanted to make it that way, but it was difficult then. Michael Murray says it was a scripting issue, right? It required engineering and would take time, so we just weren't able to do it until now. Okay, them forcing you in a crouch and you now being able to step. Which characters would this, in theory, help or hinder the most? Like, do you guys know off of memory, off of skill? For attackers, they need to figure out how to adapt. It's a new field of strategy. Harada says there will be a lot of situations where it won't be a 50-50. Michael Murray, for me, I like that the nerfed kick from Dragunov we showed on the Tekken Talk Live. All the players online really spam that move so much. Now it's really specific. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? When you talk about moves that are like spammed a lot, like they're talking about the kick from Dragunov, there's a lot of other moves from a lot of other characters that spammed a lot. Since they attacked that move and we now know why they attacked it, will they attack other moves that characters are abusing? The Heihachi mid kick, the Law Nunchuck, Yoshimitsu forward 1+2. You can even talk about Yoshimitsu flash, Yoshimitsu low unblockable. I just got to throw those things out there so people know I'm not downplaying my character. But there's many other things that characters are spamming, and they attacked Dragunov. Will they attack the others? You guys say characters that are affected by the crouching sidestepping is King, Dragunov, Nina, Law, the Mishimas. Okay, Nakatsu says it's not really an adjustment point, but in season 2, I wanted to make it easier for people like beginners to understand. So as a first for the series of Tekken, you will see things like combo count, counter hit, and punish mid battle. It's going to be like an MK. Oh, in MK they have that? Okay, fair enough. They have it in MK. Things that were only in practice. Okay. So they're doing it like in practice mode. In practice mode where all these things are displayed, they will then display it in the game itself. Congratulations, you punished. Exactly. I don't know how the pro diehard players feel about it, but I think it would help because, you know, like I spoke to many people who aren't really that good at the game, and they talked about like, why is this happening? Why is this doing that? Why is this? And the game telling them, okay, that was a punish. Okay, that was clean. Okay, that was trash. I think that would help them realize what's happening, because they even said themselves that a lot of it is identifying patterns, and to get that immediate like feedback on how you're responding to said pattern is great. I was kind of worried about it might be a bother or a cluster to some. Thought maybe we shouldn't go through with the plans, but we actually released it and it's easy to understand after all. So they do have play testers. Someone in the chat was talking about they need play testers. Even when playing, it feels good to know that a punish works. We basically wanted players to think about it themselves by not displaying the numbers. So this goes back to the same mindset they have about the deceptive pushback and punishing. Harada didn't like it because it shows the numbers, it shows exactly what's happening, what's not happening, and it leaves no room for like confusion, for like misunderstandings. And this is the same thing he does with punishing, where he doesn't want people to perfect punish. He wants people to more so like think about it themselves. He wants people to just figure it out and just go with the flow. He's making progress in certain ways, you know, with displaying the punish and whatnot, but then he's not making progress in other ways with like having deceptive pushback and stuff like that, right? So this is literally the things that we've been talking about on our own, yapping about on streams, is still so much relevant. And this is why when people be like, Moonsault, that thing that you're talking about is from 6 years ago. No, it's not. Scrub, it's happening right now. It's some of these things are the most relevant they have ever been. You know why it's also so relevant? It's because this is like the first time where we're seeing change, you know? In the past, there was no real way to get the developers to change. Now we can. As for combos, if you can see just how large combos are, combos can get, you could get controlled by high or low combos can get. So conversely, we felt that it was more interesting even if you didn't know those values. He didn't want players to obsess over how big of a combo you could do, so he hid the fact that you could do really massive combos. And they even show this in trailers. In trailers, they show you the most baby combo ever. Like they'll show you a combo that has 5 hits, but then day one you go up against Anna and they're hitting you with 15 hits. So once again, you can see that ideology still remaining, where they try to hide the true potential of combos. They try to hide the true potential of punishment. They try to hide a lot of things because they don't want players to obsess over that. But we're kind of in an era now where people are doing that, and the people who don't know to do that, or the people who aren't doing that, are at a significant disadvantage. But recently, the things that changed since back then, there's a lot of people watching streams and they want to know what's happening. Exactly. And this is what I try to highlight. People say like, oh, you guys don't want to know. You guys don't want to do this. You guys don't want to. They immediately put all of the blame on the players who don't know how to do these things, but they ignore how the developers themselves, they're saying right now that they make it as hard as possible for the players players to learn these things, right? And that's what I've been trying to highlight. Literally, bro, people get so upset at me for talking about these things, but this is exactly what I'm been highlighting. It's literally coming full circle. Can you guys give a 1 out of 10 whether or not you think what they said here was good? 8 out of 10. Okay, here's someone with a positive attitude. What's up? I think Tekken 8 doesn't need to be saved, and season 2 isn't coming to save it. The idea of season 2 is to make Tekken even better.